You check your phone. Nothing. No messages, no invitations, just silence. Then you scroll through social media and see groups of people laughing, drinking, celebrating life together. And suddenly there's that familiar weight in your chest, the quiet feeling that maybe you're missing something, that maybe everyone else has figured life out except you. That weight isn't just loneliness. It's the pressure of a world that constantly tells you that being alone means you're falling behind, that if you're not surrounded by people, something must be wrong, that happiness only exists in crowds. But what if that silence isn't a problem? What if it's a signal? The Stoics believed that true strength begins the moment you stop depending on noise, approval, and constant company to feel complete. Solitude isn't the absence of connection. It's the space where you finally begin to understand yourself. And sometimes the distance you feel from the crowd isn't a sign that you don't belong. Sometimes you feel alone not because people rejected you, but because you outgrew the room. It's a sign that you're beginning to grow. As you keep scrolling, the feeling only grows heavier. People laughing, connecting, living what looks like their best lives. And there you are, watching it all from the outside, like a spectator in your own world. You want to connect, but something about it doesn't feel right. The more you try to fit in, the more forced it feels, as if you're being asked to play a role in a script you never agreed to follow. And when you step back from it, people start to notice. Suddenly it feels like you're the one who's wrong for questioning the performance. But what if there's more to this than what society wants us to believe? What if your detachment isn't a weakness? What if it's actually a sign of strength, something that only a few understand? You're not antisocial, and you're not broken. You see the world through a different lens, one that can be both isolating and illuminating. It's not that you can't connect. It's that your mind is wired to reject the inauthentic. It's hyperacute pattern recognition, being able to see past the masks people wear. Where others hear words, you hear intentions. Where others see smiles, you see the underlying tension. You notice the subtle shift in tone, the quick glance that betrays hidden feelings. You're not just listening, you're observing. And in a world of performances, that can be a lonely place to stand, but it's not a flaw. It's a gift, and it's not the gift that everyone wants to receive. This ability to see the truth behind the words comes with its own price. Most people are content in the comfort of shallow interactions where everything is on the surface. They talk about the weather, the latest trends, or the latest drama, but they avoid the real questions. They shy away from vulnerability. But you can't do that. Your mind rejects the meaningless chatter. You crave something deeper, something authentic. That's where the isolation comes in. You walk alone because your standards are high, and most people can't meet them. They don't know how to talk about ideas, dreams, or fears. They're stuck in the shallow end, and you can't dive in with them. It feels like trying to hold a conversation underwater. You're already drowning in a world that refuses to acknowledge what's beneath the surface. And as you sit back and observe, you start to realize something. The discomfort isn't yours alone. It's theirs too. People feel uneasy when you don't conform to the script, when you don't play along with their fake smiles and pretended joy. They begin to question themselves when you see through the act, when you don't buy into the performance. It's like they can feel the weight of your observation, the way your silence makes them confront the things they're hiding from themselves. In a world that celebrates superficial connections, being the one who doesn't engage with the facade can make you seem cold, distant, even unapproachable. But it's not coldness, it's clarity. You're not judging them, you're just seeing them for who they truly are, and not everyone is comfortable with that. If this way of seeing the world resonates with you, if you're choosing clarity over conformity, subscribe. Not to follow a channel, but to strengthen the mindset that allows you to grow without needing the crowd's approval. What's even more striking is how often this trait, this ability to perceive what others cannot, leads to rejection. It's not you who's failing, it's them. You haven't lost your friends, you've simply exposed their truths. You've become a mirror to them, but most people aren't ready to face what they see. Carl Jung once said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely," and that's what they're running from when they distance themselves from you. They can't bear to face what you reflect back to them, so they turn away, and you're left standing alone, yet with a clear sense of who you are. But there's more to this than just understanding others' masks. There's an inner strength in walking alone. This space that many view as loneliness is actually a playground for growth and self-discovery. The more you reject the shallow, the more you start to appreciate what's real, what's meaningful. And it's in these moments of solitude that you start to build. You no longer seek validation from others because you've learned to find it within yourself. When you stop waiting for approval, you find peace. And that's the power of solitude. It's not a punishment, it's a tool for transformation. It's where you shed the layers of societal expectation and start living according to your own principles. This is the true essence of freedom, being able to live authentically without the need for external validation. At first, this transformation might feel uncomfortable. After all, we are social creatures, wired to seek connection and approval. But the deeper you go into yourself, the more you realize that your self-worth doesn't depend on the approval of others. In fact, the more you understand and accept yourself, the more you'll realize that you're not alone in this journey. There are others who share this sense of isolation, who crave real connection and truth. But finding them requires patience and persistence. It requires the courage to walk alone, to reject the noise, and to build your own path. And the more you do this, the clearer it becomes that your solitude isn't a burden, it's a privilege. It's in this space that you begin to truly understand the value of authenticity. The world often pushes us to conform, to fit into predefined boxes, and to wear masks for the sake of social harmony. But the deeper you go, the more you realize that this conformity is what keeps people stuck. They're trapped in a cycle of pretending, of wearing masks to fit in. But you're breaking free from that cycle. You've chosen to see beyond the act, to understand the underlying motivations, and to reject anything that doesn't align with your values. And as you do, you realize that your path isn't lonely. It's just different. And that difference is what makes it powerful. You might still feel the sting of isolation from time to time, especially when the world doesn't understand you. But the truth is, this is just part of the journey. The more you walk this path, the more you begin to attract those who resonate with your energy, your authenticity. They'll find you, just as you've found yourself. And in the end, you won't just have a few true friends. You'll have the strength to stand alone, to be the person you were always meant to be, without compromise. Have you ever been in a room full of people, nodding along, but inside you feel a sense of disconnect? Conversations swirling around you about the weather, the latest TV shows, or gossip at the office. It's draining. It's like you're surrounded by noise, and every word that doesn't mean anything just adds to the chaos. You want to engage, to share ideas, to dive into real conversations, but all you hear is the surface-level chatter. It feels like the world is stuck in entropy, a constant whirl of randomness and shallow exchanges. But you're different. You have a high need for cognition, a craving for depth, meaning, and real challenge. Small talk isn't just something you don't enjoy. It's exhausting. It feels like a waste of energy, a distraction from something more substantial. Your mind craves deeper questions: what's truly important, where the world is heading, and how we can shape the future. You don't care about who's dating who or the latest scandal. The surface-level noise doesn't satisfy you, but when you try to bring these deeper thoughts to the table, what happens? People look at you, confused, uncomfortable. They shrink away from the conversation because it feels too heavy, too real. It's like you're speaking a different language, and they don't understand the dialect. Over time, you learn that the world isn't ready for those conversations. Most people are content to stay in their comfort zones, avoiding the discomfort that comes with asking the big questions. They would rather stick to what's easy, what's familiar, than step into the unknown with you. This doesn't mean you're rejecting them. You're not trying to push people away or look down on them. You're simply unwilling to conform to the world's obsession with mediocrity. You don't want to lower your standards just to fit in. You choose silence instead of pretending, and in that silence you find your clarity. It's not always easy to walk away from these shallow exchanges. We are social creatures, after all, and the need for connection runs deep. But connection doesn't have to come at the expense of your values, your principles. The more you learn to embrace your need for real connection, the more you realize that it's not about fitting in. It's about finding those who truly resonate with you, who see the world in the same way, who aren't afraid to explore the depths of thought and existence. Those connections are rare, and you have to be willing to wait for them. It's easy to get discouraged when you feel like an outsider, but remember, the more you reject what doesn't align with your truth, the closer you come to finding the people who truly see you. But don't mistake this for loneliness. This is not about being alone. It's about making space for the people who really matter. The world will try to convince you that you need to fit in, that you need to shrink yourself to be accepted. But the truth is, you're not broken for standing apart. You're simply different. You're not rejecting people because they're unworthy, but because they're choosing comfort over growth. They're choosing the shallow over the deep. And that's not a path you're willing to walk. As you continue on this journey, you start to realize that silence isn't something to fear. It's a gift. It's the space where you can reconnect with yourself, where you can refine your thoughts and ideas. It's where you can find your true purpose, away from the distractions of the world. And once you've embraced this silence, this solitude, you begin to see the world through a new lens. You start to understand that the conversations you crave, the ideas you want to discuss, are not only important, they are necessary. They are the building blocks of a life lived with intention, a life that doesn't settle for mediocrity, but seeks to create something meaningful. The more you lean into this journey, the more you'll find that the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more depth. It needs people who are willing to ask the hard questions and face the discomfort that comes with true growth. You don't have to be like everyone else. In fact, you shouldn't be. The world is full of people content with the surface level. But you are here to dive deeper, to explore the ideas and truths that lie beneath. And that path, though lonely at times, will lead you to the people who matter most. The ones who understand, who challenge, who grow alongside you. You've felt it before, the pressure to fit in, to follow the unspoken rules that govern the groups you encounter. The silent demands, the expectations, the ways people try to mold you into something you're not. It's suffocating, isn't it? And even if you try to slip into the background to go unnoticed, you can't help but resist. It's not that you're trying to stir up trouble, but there's a part of you that refuses to comply. You can't just nod along, pretend to agree, pretend to fit in. It feels wrong. Every time you're asked to suppress your thoughts, your values, your truth, something inside of you pushes back. You feel it deep within your psyche. It's not about being rebellious for the sake of rebellion. It's about preserving your authenticity, refusing to submit to a reality that doesn't align with who you are. This resistance, it's not weakness, it's strength. Most people don't understand it. The world around you, filled with its norms and expectations, isn't built for people who question the system, who refuse to comply without understanding the why. Social circles, friendships, workplaces, they all function like little kingdoms, each with their own set of unwritten rules. You don't have to say a word for people to feel the tension, to sense your discomfort with the status quo. You're not following the rules, and that makes you stand out. But what happens when you stand out? What happens when you no longer play by their script? They try to break you. They label you difficult, disruptive, a troublemaker. They push you out, hoping you'll conform, hoping you'll bend under the weight of their collective pressure. But what they fail to see is that this is exactly what sets you free. You're not bound by their expectations, their norms. In fact, you're liberated precisely because you don't play by their rules. And that, my friend, is freedom, a form of freedom that most will never truly understand. This freedom isn't something that comes easily, though. There's a price to pay. The moment you stop conforming, the moment you reject the comfort of fitting in, people start to view you as a threat. They don't like being reminded of their own conformity, their own limitations. So, they'll try to convince you that you're the one who's wrong, that you're the one who's out of place. But in reality, you've found something they'll never experience: self-possession. You are no longer at the mercy of their judgments, their opinions, their whims. You've learned that you don't need validation from the crowd. You've chosen your own path, and that choice is the most powerful one you can make. It's in these moments of defiance, of standing firm in your authenticity, that you truly begin to understand the value of autonomy. Autonomy isn't about doing whatever you want, regardless of the consequences. It's about choosing to live according to your own values, without the need to appease others or follow the herd. It's about making decisions based on your inner compass, not external pressures. This is what freedom looks like. And, ironically, the more you embrace it, the more isolated you might feel. It's a paradox. The very thing that sets you free also makes it harder to connect with those who are still trapped by the expectations of the world. But here's the thing. The isolation isn't a punishment. It's a sign that you're on the right path. You don't need to be surrounded by people who don't align with your truth. You don't need to pretend to be something you're not just to fit into a group. What you need is clarity, purpose, and the courage to continue walking your path, even when it feels like the world is telling you to turn back. There's a deeper freedom in being alone, in knowing that you're true to yourself. And the more you embrace this, the more you'll realize that you're not alone at all. The right people, those who understand your journey and appreciate your independence, will find you. But first, you must be willing to walk this path without the need for validation. What most don't understand is that true freedom doesn't come from being accepted by others. It comes from accepting yourself. It's about knowing that you don't need to conform to their rules, their standards, or their expectations. You are free because you choose to be. And this freedom is what makes you dangerous in the eyes of those who rely on the comfort of compliance. You're not a threat because you seek to harm. You're a threat because you've stopped needing their approval. And that's a kind of power most people will never understand. It's a power that comes from within, from the refusal to compromise your authenticity for the sake of fitting in. In a world that demands conformity, you've chosen to walk alone if necessary. But in this solitude, you find your strength. In this refusal to bend, you find your freedom. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. You are not lost, not broken, not a failure. You are exactly where you need to be, on the path to your own self-realization, your own liberation. And the more you walk it, the more you'll realize that the true power lies not in belonging, but in becoming who you truly are. People who don't understand your drive often label you as too intense or too serious, but the reality is much deeper. You don't fit in because you're not here to waste time. You're here to build. Whether it's a business, a personal philosophy, or even your own physical strength, you are obsessed with creating something meaningful. You feel time slipping away like grains of sand, and that discomfort, almost painful at times, compels you to keep pushing forward, to keep working towards something that will stand the test of time. The world around you is filled with distractions, with people who are content to drift, to wait for the next event or the next weekend to fill the void. But you can't do that. You can't afford to. This need for focus, for depth, goes beyond ambition. It's a calling, a recognition that greatness requires sacrifice. If you want to achieve something extraordinary, you have to be willing to give up the trivialities that others hold so dear. You've learned that you can't build an empire while juggling a busy social calendar. You can't create something meaningful when you're constantly pulled away by the demands of others' expectations. The more you understand this, the more you realize that every hour spent indulging in small talk or fleeting pleasures is an hour stolen from your future. You don't have time to waste. Carl Jung once said, "Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes." You've woken up to the reality that what truly matters is not the noise around you, but the work you're doing, the path you're carving. So, you begin to say no. At first, it feels strange. People start to notice. They wonder why you're not attending this gathering or joining that conversation. You start to decline the invitations that once seemed so important. But as you do, something incredible happens. The distractions fade away. The trivial pursuits that once seemed to matter so much are no longer pulling at you. And in that solitude, you find your purpose. The more you choose to focus on your mission, the clearer your direction becomes. You no longer feel lost in the noise of everyday life. Instead, you start to see the bigger picture, to understand the power of your singular focus. And with that focus, you begin to build. At first, people may call you distant or accuse you of being too serious, but they don't see what you see. They don't understand that you are building something that requires your full attention. And while they're out socializing or spending their time on distractions, you're quietly putting in the work that will pay off in ways they'll never comprehend. You've made a choice. You've chosen depth over shallow connections, purpose over idle chatter, and in doing so, you've unlocked the kind of focus that sets you apart. It's in this solitude that you find the strength to keep pushing forward, to keep building, even when the world around you tries to pull you in different directions. The journey isn't easy. The more you focus, the more the world will try to distract you, to pull you back into the noise. But here's the truth. You've learned to embrace this solitude. You've learned that saying no is not an act of rejection, but of self-preservation. It's a commitment to your vision, to the work that needs to be done. As you say no to the distractions, you're saying yes to your future. You're saying yes to the person you're becoming, the life you're creating, and the legacy you're building. And the more you step into this solitude, the more you realize that you are not alone at all. You are surrounded by the quiet power of your own purpose, and that in itself is enough. When you choose this path, the world may try to make you feel isolated. People might question your decisions, your focus, and even your intentions. But those who matter, those who understand the journey you're on, will find you. They'll recognize your purpose and join you in the work that lies ahead. The rest, they'll fade away. And that's okay, because the people who are meant to be part of your journey won't be the ones distracting you with trivial pursuits. They'll be the ones building with you, creating something real and lasting. So, you continue to say no. You say no to the noise, to the distractions, to the things that don't align with your purpose. And with each no, you're getting closer to the life you've always known you were meant to create. You've stopped waiting for validation from others, and in doing so, you've found the strength to keep moving forward, no matter how difficult or lonely it gets. The silence becomes your ally. In the quiet, you find clarity. And in that clarity, you find the courage to build, to create, and to become the person you've always known you were meant to be. Most people can't comprehend why you choose to walk this path, the path of independence, of self-sufficiency. To them, it doesn't make sense. Why would anyone willingly choose solitude when the world is full of distractions, relationships, and constant connection? It's easy to think that solitude means weakness, that it's a sign of being broken or incomplete. But for you, it's not about loneliness or isolation. It's about something far deeper, something far more intentional. You don't reject connection, but you have learned to seek something far rarer, true connection, real connection. not the surface-level interactions most people settle for. It's about shared values, mutual respect, and an ability to look at the world with the same depth. That's why your circle is small. You've realized that in a world full of shallow exchanges, genuine bonds are hard to find. And so your tribe is rare. It's not that you don't need others, quite the opposite. You long for relationships that go beyond the surface, relationships that are built on mutual understanding and growth. But you've learned that these kinds of relationships are few and far between. That's why you've learned to be okay with walking alone. People who truly resonate with you don't come around often, they're rare, and so your tribe remains small. But here's the catch. Your very presence can trigger something deep in others. When someone who isn't comfortable with themselves meets you, it's not your independence they fear. It's what you make them confront within themselves. Your clarity, your confidence, your ability to stand alone, it exposes their vulnerabilities. They see what they lack in themselves, and that makes them uncomfortable. They see their own insecurities mirrored in you, and they don't like it. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And that's what your presence does to others. It forces them to face what they're running from. Instead of appreciating your strength, they may react with anger, resentment, or even jealousy. They might lash out at you, trying to tear you down or push you away. But this isn't about you. It's about them. They see your solitude and mistake it for weakness, not understanding that your solitude is your greatest strength. In your solitude, you have found peace. In your solitude, you've found clarity. While the world seeks validation and approval from others, you've learned that true strength comes from within. You don't need others to define you. You don't need external validation to feel whole. You are already whole. And this truth, this peace, makes those around you uncomfortable because it reminds them of their own dependence on others for validation. They've built their lives around the need to fit in, to be accepted, and your ability to stand apart from that is a constant reminder that they are still trapped in the cycle of seeking approval. This is where the strength lies, knowing that your worth is not defined by the opinions of others. Your solitude isn't something you're ashamed of. It isn't a punishment, it's a choice, a conscious decision to embrace who you are and reject the pressures of conformity. While the world runs after fleeting connections and superficial relationships, you've learned to cultivate something deeper. You've learned to be comfortable with yourself, to sit with your thoughts, to reflect on who you are without the constant noise of the outside world. In this space, you've grown, you've transformed. And the beauty of it is that you don't need to explain yourself to anyone. Your life, your path, it speaks for itself. The right people will find you, and they will appreciate your independence, your clarity, and your strength. As you continue to walk this path, it may still feel lonely at times. But don't mistake loneliness for weakness. Your solitude is a space for growth, a space where you can become the person you're meant to be. The world might label you as distant, as hard to read, or even as too intense, but you know that this is exactly what allows you to become who you truly are. It's not a weakness, it's your superpower. It's what allows you to rise above the noise and distractions of the world, to stay focused on your purpose, and to keep pushing forward, no matter how uncomfortable it gets. The path you've chosen isn't easy, but it's one that leads to self-discovery, to inner strength, and to a life that is fully your own. People may look at you and see solitude, but they miss the point. It's in this solitude that you've found your strength. It's in this solitude that you've found your purpose. You don't need to surround yourself with people who don't understand you, who don't see the world the way you do. The right people, the ones who can appreciate your journey and walk alongside you, will find their way to you. And when they do, you'll know that it wasn't your need for connection that drew them to you. It was your authenticity. It was your ability to stand alone and embrace who you truly are, without needing anyone's approval. That's where true connection comes from, and that's where your power lies. Most people are consumed by the present, caught up in the immediacy of what's right in front of them. Their lives revolve around instant gratification, the next quick fix, the next pleasure, the next distraction. They focus on what's happening now, seeking fleeting moments of happiness or relief. But you live in the future. You've learned to look beyond the moment and see the bigger picture. You understand that every action has consequences, even if those consequences haven't shown up yet. You see the paths others are walking down, and you know exactly where they're headed. And often that's a place you don't want to be. This foresight, this ability to project ahead, creates a kind of disconnection. You're speaking a language that most people can't comprehend because they're focused on the here and now, while you're already planning for what's coming next. This divide between you and others can feel isolating. It's like you're looking at the world from a higher vantage point, and most people are still stuck in the valley below, too focused on the noise to see what you see. They're consumed with petty drama. Who said what? Who's doing what? The latest celebrity gossip or workplace politics, and you're just not interested. Your mind is already beyond that, thinking about your trajectory, your purpose, and the long-term vision you're building. You're not preoccupied with the small stuff. It's not that you're detached or uncaring. You just understand that those distractions will never lead to real fulfillment, and that's where the divide deepens. As you look ahead, you realize that most people are not ready to meet you where you are. They can't understand the level of foresight you carry because they're too busy living day to day. This difference can be lonely. But here's the thing. The loneliness you feel isn't the same as isolation. It's not a void where no one exists. It's simply a space that only a rare few can enter. Most people are content living within the narrow confines of their immediate surroundings, but you've stepped outside of those boundaries. You've seen what lies beyond, and while others may not be ready to follow you there, you know that this space is where growth happens. This doesn't make you better than others. It simply means that your journey is different, and that difference is where your strength lies. You've come to terms with the fact that you won't always be able to connect with everyone, and that's okay. You don't need to fit in with those who don't see what you see. By living in the future, by choosing a path that doesn't follow the crowd, you're becoming your true self. You're not constrained by the expectations of others or limited by the distractions that hold most people back. As you continue on this path, you might feel a sense of loneliness creep in from time to time. It's hard not to feel isolated when you know you're walking a road that so few understand. But this loneliness is not something to fear. It's a sign that you're on the right track. It's in these moments of solitude that you find your purpose, your clarity, your true direction. While others are distracted by what's immediate, you are building something that will last, something that will carry you into the future with purpose and intention. The space you occupy right now is where real transformation happens. Most people won't understand it, and that's okay. They're not meant to. They're not meant to follow your path, just as you weren't meant to follow theirs. The future you're building isn't for everyone. It's for the rare few who are willing to see beyond the noise, who are ready to step outside of their comfort zones and envision something greater. Those are the people who will eventually find their way to you when the time is right. Until then, the solitude you experience is a sign of strength, not weakness. It's your mind's way of telling you that you're focused, that you're on the right path, and that the future you envision is worth every step you take to reach it. You've made peace with the fact that you're walking alone for now. It's not easy, and it's not always comfortable, but it's necessary. The world is not ready for what you're creating, and that's exactly why you need to keep going. The loneliness you feel isn't a reflection of your inadequacy. It's a reflection of your vision. You are ahead of your time, and the world just hasn't caught up yet. But one day, it will. And when it does, you'll find that the path you've walked alone will have been worth every step. Where does this leave you? In solitude? Yes, but not broken. In silence? Yes, but not defeated. The path you walk doesn't lead to isolation because you are unworthy. It leads there because you are rare. You see, the world isn't built for people like you. It's built for conformity, for fitting in, for blending into the background. But you're not here to follow the crowd. You're here to create. You're here to build something that matters, something lasting, something that can only be shaped in solitude. That solitude is not a punishment, it's a privilege. In the silence, you find clarity. In the stillness, you find your strength. While others are distracted by the noise of the world, you're preparing for something greater. But let's make one thing clear. Solitude doesn't equate to bitterness or arrogance. It's easy to misinterpret. People will look at you and see someone detached, someone who doesn't belong. They'll label you as distant or aloof. But they don't understand the truth. They don't understand that this path, the one you've chosen, is not one of separation, but of profound creation. You've embraced your solitude not as a sign of failure, but as an opportunity for growth. You're not rejecting the world. You're rejecting the distractions that pull you away from your purpose. This path isn't for the faint-hearted, but for those who understand that greatness requires focus, and that focus is found in silence. In this space of solitude, you have the time to reflect, to strategize, and to prepare for a future that most cannot see. It's where you build your foundation, where you construct the framework for the legacy you're crafting. The world might look at your silence and think it's loneliness, but in reality, you're laying the groundwork for something much larger than anyone can comprehend. And the more you stand in that space, the more you realize that it's your greatest weapon. While others are distracted by fleeting pleasures and the noise of modern life, you're focused on building something that lasts. You're not concerned with the things that others find important, like popularity, approval, or validation. You're concerned with purpose, with creating a life that is deeply meaningful, that will stand the test of time. And that's the kind of life that only someone who understands the value of solitude can build. By walking this path of solitude, you're becoming the person you were meant to be, the person who can accomplish things that most people could never dream of. So when you feel the weight of loneliness, when you question if you're doing the right thing, remember this: it's not a curse, it's a gift. It's your greatest strength, your most powerful tool. While others are consumed by the noise, by the distractions, you are building, you are creating, you are becoming the architect of your own life, and you are laying the foundation for something extraordinary. It's not always easy, it's not always comfortable, but it's always worth it. And as you continue on this journey, you'll realize that this solitude, this space where you can focus and reflect, is the key to everything you want to achieve. The world won't understand it. They'll look at you and think you're missing out, that you're sacrificing too much for something that might never come to fruition. But you know better. You know that greatness requires sacrifice. It requires focus. It requires silence. And in the end, those who are willing to embrace that silence, to walk that path, are the ones who will leave a legacy that lasts. You are not alone because you are unworthy. You are alone because you are on a journey that few can understand. But that's exactly why your path will lead to places most people can't even imagine. And when the world catches up with you, when it sees the vision you've been building all along, it will finally understand that your solitude was never a curse. It was always your greatest weapon. As you continue on this path, you'll begin to see the beauty in the solitude you once feared. What others perceive as loneliness, you now see as a vital space for creation and reflection. It's where you can hear your true voice, where you can refine your thoughts and ideas without the constant interruptions of the world. This is where your most profound insights come from, where you begin to see the deeper connections between things, the kind of insights that can only come from being alone, undistracted, and fully immersed in your own thoughts. In that space, you'll realize that you've been given a gift. It's not just a gift of time, but a gift of clarity. The noise of the world fades away, and what's left is the purity of your own mind, free from external influences. This is where you make the most important decisions in your life. This is where you shape your future. And as you stand in that solitude, you'll notice something amazing. It stops feeling like loneliness. It feels like power. The power to shape your life, to create something lasting, and to build a legacy that will outlast the distractions and chaos of the world. When you embrace this solitude, you no longer feel the pressure to conform. You no longer seek validation from others. Your purpose becomes clear, and you realize that this is the path you were always meant to walk. It's not an easy path, but it's yours. And with each step, you grow stronger, more determined, and more aligned with who you truly are. In the end, it's this solitude, this space where you find yourself, that becomes the foundation for everything you will achieve. Remember, the path you walk may feel lonely, but it is leading you to something extraordinary. Your solitude isn't a punishment, it's a privilege, a space for growth, clarity, and purpose. While others are caught in the noise, you are quietly crafting your legacy. Keep walking your path with unwavering conviction, because in the end, it's your silence that will speak the loudest. Thank you for being part of Stoic Journal. If this message resonated with you, keep exploring. Watch one of the suggested videos on the screen and continue your journey of self-discovery and purpose.